So I think the first one I'm going to do is I have to do Super Mario Brothers. I think that's pretty much obligatory. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and open that. So in the background here, there was a progress bar, and that showed you how it was uploading the ROM over the UART. And that went pretty fast, and that's because Super Mario Brothers is a pretty small game, a very small game actually. So now that nothing popped up in the game details or the image info or the image pane because I'm not logged into the NESCART database website yet. Now if I click cancel, which I'm going to do just to show you what happens, it'll actually go ahead and it'll still show you the data that is available from the XML file, the local XML file. But it won't show you the game, or it won't show you the image, and it says you must be logged in to NESCART database to show the images. But we do have the box text, which is from the creators of the Uber NES, and so this is an example of that. Basically, this is taken from that local XML file that was parsed, and it'll show you the text from there. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Again, it's not for all games, but I mean, it's got 100 or so games, so I mean that's pretty darn good, and I'm really happy to have it. So, and if I haven't said it already, I don't remember, but thank you very much to the creators of Uber NES for providing that, and also to Boot God, that's his username over at NESCART database for providing that XML file. Boot God also provided the PHP script that I use to interface my GUI to request the images from his website, and that's really useful too. And I thank him a lot for doing that. He didn't do it specifically for me, but I do appreciate it, and he's been fixing bugs as I've been finding them, and making some upgrades, so I really appreciate that. This is the courtesy of Boot God and NESCART database, so all this information is provided by him. He's actually he doesn't have the developer key value pair in his XML file at the moment, but he is going to add that. He emailed me and said he was going to add that, so again, I appreciate that too, because that'll be cool. I think the developer is more interesting than the publisher, so it'll be nice to have both. So again, it's saying that you must be logged in. So since I didn't log in, I'm going to go ahead and log in now. Right now, I have to actually reload the ROM to get the image to show up. So I'm going to go ahead and load that. Again, now it's more evident that I sent a reset command, or the GUI sent a reset command to the emulator because it reset it, and basically what you're seeing is the last frame of image data in the VGA frame buffer. So that's what you're seeing. So I'm just going to load up the same game again, but this time I'm going to log in, and I'm going to bring that over here. I'm not comfortable with you smart guys even knowing how many characters my password is. Okay, so I logged in. So so it just downloaded this image it went out to the NESCART database website and downloaded this image using the PHP script that Boot God provided. And you can select any of these images. So if we scroll through them, so this is the cart front, this is the top, and then the front of the PCB back. This is the original box, the back of the box, and the manual. The images of the manual are just the front of the manual. It's not like every page or anything like that. Although that would be really awesome. It would also be really time consuming, but anyway, so that's basically, now not every game has all of these images. Some of them only have like 2 out of 6 or 2 out of 5, but that's pretty much it. And then the box text there, I already showed you that. So let's see, got to go back to my notes. I'm getting kind of out of sync with my notes here. So I showed you how to log into the NES card database, and also if your login times out, it'll ask you to re-log in again. But what's also really cool, what I did on this is actually I'll show you a game real quick. What I did here was if the data from the XML database file from the NES card database, if the mapper, the prog size, or the char size that's specified in the XML file does not match the mapper, prog size, or char size in the ROM that you are uploading, it'll tell you that. And that has been incredibly useful. And I actually left one broken. I'm going to show you this Mega Man. So I'm going to load up Mega Man. So right here, it's saying there's a mismatch. It says the XML file says that it should be using mapper 2, and believe me, if the NES card database website says something, there's a 99% chance that it's correct and your ROM is wrong. I have found everything on the NES card database to be absolutely completely accurate. So it's saying that the ROM file is saying it's using mapper 6, and that's not actually the case. So this would be a ROM that you'd want to fix. Eventually I want to make it so that the GUI will A, either fix the ROM, or B, will replace the mapper number in the ROM file with the correct mapper number. Because right now the game is literally actually running. The emulator actually took the mapper number from the ROM file as opposed to the XML file. So that would be a nice little upgrade to have. But at least for now, it at least tells you that the two mapper numbers are wrong. And it actually, believe it or not, the game still runs. And that's probably because I think, let's see, 2 and 60, I think that's GX-ROM and UX-ROM. I think UX-ROM is mapper 2 and GX-ROM is 66, or maybe the other way around. But I think they're both pretty simple, discrete prog bank switching mappers. They're probably just different sizes. I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I implemented the mappers, but that's probably the reason that it's actually working still. In most cases, probably the game wouldn't even run or would crash. But I guarantee you this game is running on mapper 66, and it shouldn't be right now. Now, that's not to say that later on the game wouldn't, completely die. But it does run fine for a while. So I'm getting my butt kicked here, dude. Mega Man is hard, man. But so it does run pretty good. I'm about to die here, but might as well show you a little bit of gameplay. But I think that's all I'm gonna do. Okay. So that's incredibly useful, and I'll do the same thing for prog size and char size for the mismatch sizes. So that'll let you know when you have a corrupt ROM header or possibly ROM data itself, if the prog and char sizes are wrong. Now, so I'll show you an example of. So first I better explain what the heck is coming across here over the UART. So what's happening is when the GUI loads a ROM into the emulator, it will send responses back. So a K says that the command that you sent me was valid. It was a valid command. So for example, the load command, to load a ROM, that was a valid command. And then it will start sending the ROM over to the emulator. And as it sends the header is the first thing that it sends, and the emulator will parse out the header. It'll pick the right mapper, etc., etc. Basically initializes the whole emulator. And if it receives a valid header, which is the first 16 bytes of the ROM, it sends a response back with H saying that the header was okay. And then the next dot that you see here is, so one dot represents one prog or char bank successfully loaded into the emulator. So so now for Mega Man, which is this set of characters right here, you see valid command, valid header, and then it sent you however many dots that is for the number of prog banks. So that's one dot for a single 16 kilobyte prog bank of data. So if you divide that number by 16, you'll see that many dots minus 1, and then the P character says that is essentially the last dot, but it tells you that it received the entire prog data. And you'd also normally see, well, not normally, but if the game has any char data at all, you'll see 0 or more dots followed by a C character saying that the char was completely loaded. I think that's pretty much it for that. Let me show you what happens if you get a ROM that is not in the NESCART database XML file, which is pretty much impossible. So I'm going to have to go to a custom ROM, for example, one of Blarg's CPU tests here. I guess I'll just go ahead and run any of these. I don't remember exactly what these do, but that looks like a bug there. I'm not sure why that is red. I'm gonna have to check that out. That's a bug. See, that's why you make these videos. This is a big ROM. Yeah, Blarg's test ROMs are amazing. My emulator would not be what it is without his test ROMs. And there's other people that make test ROMs out there too, which are also very much appreciated. So that's Blarg's. That you can see the output from there. I'm glad that test still works. I haven't actually tried any of these in a really long time because 99% of my time has been spent on this GUI interface. But I'm about to get back to the hardware really soon. So, so if there is no image available, it'll tell you. There's either no ROM loaded, the CRC is incorrect, or the NESCART database XML file has no entry, and it tells you that it's unavailable. So, here now, what this is basically saying is that the mapper, prog size, and char size that you see here are from the ROM directly. They're not from the XML file. So that's basically just what it's telling you.